We just have to do it in Parliament.
Let's then still stay on the same subject and make sense of the pilgrimage to Wamunyoro in the county of Nyeri, where the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has been convening meetings ahead of what he said is going to be a major statement and declaration that he will make. He was in the county of Laikipia yesterday. But Honorable Koech, you said you have impeached him because of his tribal inclination, but other leaders within the party and close associates of the president say it's the president who sanctioned the impeachment of Gachagua.
How does the president sanction?
Well, according to the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly...
Then you don't have a brain if you're in Parliament and you can't think as a member of Parliament.
I mean, the Deputy Speaker, Gladys Bowe, said here that, Mr. President, in December, you told me to impeach Rigathi Gachagua, and I exactly followed the script and we impeached him.
No, I don't know what Gladys meant. I'm just saying, as myself, Nelson Koech, I look at the charges. It took us time to read the charges and to understand. And we saw that there's a country, we didn't need this kind of toxic politician. That's why we got rid of the former Deputy President. I know so many things that he's done that I do not want to speak here, that are extremely tribal. It was not very good for the cohesion of the country. And all the charges, in my view, were correct. And that is why we allow now the courts to make their view. But in my view, the former Deputy President was.
And one of the major charges was that he had equated Kenya to a shareholding company.
Absolutely. Yes.
And he said it is the president who instructed him to say that.
Then how will he want to run as a president? In fact,
does he have a brain?
Kashi was saying, he shouldn't even have said that. It tells you that is not the kind of a person to be a president. He can't think. If someone can write, then it means if someone can write to you what you should say as a deputy president, you had no business being a deputy president.
Yes, Honorable Manduko.
Yes. My view is that at that point, the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, was not the right person for this country. Why? Because he propagated the narrative of shareholding. And some of us, and truly enough, felt excluded from government.
Yes.
And until the broad-based government came in,
but you just said
many Kenyans,
your opening statement.
Many Kenyans.
Very good.
I think he's coming to the point.
This is the case here because you're glossing over.
We are excluded.
Well,
we are excluded by ODM.
I'll ask you the question, Manduko. It's an accountability because I'm concerned about the catalogue of dichotomy in your statements. You just said in the broad-based arrangement you are also excluded as a...
Yes, we are. As Kisses, we are excluded from the broad-based government.
Also in the first instance.
We have always been excluded. That is what I'm saying.
How will the public take you serious?
We thought that with the broad-based government, the Kissi people would be included. We are still excluded. That is what I've said, and that has not changed. It was worse when Rigathi Gachagua was deputy president.
How so?
But having said that...
How so was it worse than the current arrangement?
Because, for example, at that time, you remember there was the issue of the jobs that the Kenya Revenue Authority hired young people. And if you looked at those allocations, they went to 2 tribes. Recently, there were teacher employment. At least the cases have a few now. With the exit of the former deputy president, a few cases have been employed as teachers. So before that, it was zero.
Your community was Rigathi Gachagua.
One of the problems.
Well, is it then fair to play the man instead of the ball, instead of focusing on policies as a national leader, the National Assembly?
Policies are good, yes.
Let's talk about teachers, because you point out very fundamental issues. And the employment of the Kenya Revenue Authority that you talked about, which was quashed by the High Court. And this, out of 1,400, more than 700 came from 2 communities, which the High Court said was unfair, therefore quashing the appointments. On the teachers' employment, it's a process that's laid down to be followed, and which it should be based on equity. How was it a Gachagua problem than
you see,
a government problem?
Let me tell you, it doesn't matter what the policies say. What comes out is the end result. If you look at the employments when Gachagua was deputy president, you will notice, even the Gazette notices, just go and read all the Gazette notices of state appointments, parastatal boards, you will notice a common trend. And the common trend was that you are either Kikuyu or Kalenjin to get those positions. Now, it's a bit better. You can look at the Gazette notice of Friday, for example, last Friday, you'll see a few other people from all over Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua was perpetuating the narrative of shareholding. And to him, this country belonged to 2 tribes. Now at least the laws are in. Give it. Kissis are yet to get in. That's what I've said. And I come from Kissi Nation, and we believe that our people have to get something on the table.
Okay, and then did the president not also advance the issue of shareholding?
Well, he could have advanced it because he kept quiet. He never came out openly.
As per the paperwork we have of the political parties' arrangements that were signed between the parties which make up the Kenya Kwanza alliance, that is the ANC party, Fort Kenya party, Justin Muturi's party, Moses Kuria's party, Tujibebe wa Kenya party of the now minister William Kafogo. I mean, these were arrangements that were done and put on paper on how to share government appointments, including commissions of independent institutions, which are supposed to be very competitive, where Kenyans are supposed to apply, and then it's based on meritocracy. This, why not then talk about the initiation of this shareholding issue and the debate at the political formation stage, when this was put on paper and was officiated by the president, then legal advisor, and now Deputy President Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki?
Let me tell you, Ayub, all those agreements, as they came out in public, and reading the Constitution in isolation, you will notice that there are illegal agreements. You cannot purport to share constitutional commissions, which are supposed to be based on competence and merit, and through application process. I think at the time of signing those agreements, the idea was to capture government, to get government. And when they got in, they realized, oops, we made a mistake. This government is for 2 tribes. We must bring other people in. And that is the basis upon which we say that at that point, Rigathi was perpetuating the issue of shareholding and believing that this country belonged to only 2 tribes. Okay. That we didn't agree with him. I am on record as having said that was wrong myself.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Honorable Kagusha, I'll come to you.
Yeah, so sometimes when Kenyans listen to us, the politicians, they wonder if we understand what we are talking about. Manduku here says that the reason why the Kisis were not included in government was because of Gachagua. Now, let us agree here, Gachagua is out. Manduku shouldn't be complaining of exclusion. Your problem was Gachagua, he's now out. And now let us see how you are taken care of. It's also a bit interesting because we have very high-ranking Kisis who are in government then. When my brother here says that Gachagua is the one who made them not to get teachers employed, we could see the minister for, or the cabinet secretary for education, who was a Kisi, was dishing out employment forms in burials and funerals. Kenyans have seen that. Kenyans know that. But Manduku here would want to convince Kenyans that he voted against Gachagua because he made them not to get positions in TSC. Is ridiculous, to say the least. Him saying that because Gachagua is now out, that is why the people from Nyanza region, or Luo Nyanza, are in government. Again, that is defeatist right from the word go. The truth of the matter is, the people who have now been included in government, including my friend Bandi and the rest one day, they are not in government because Gachagua was kicked out. They're in government because of the Gen Z issues. It is the young people who fomented this. It is not Gachagua. In any case, some of them were already even in government, even by the time Gachagua was actually being kicked out. So, truth be told, the issue of shareholding was not a Gachagua issue. Gachagua his problem was only that he talked about it openly. Otherwise, it is something that was put on paper. Remember the issue of MOU between Kibaki and Raila Odinga in 2002?
Which was never formalized.
Which was never formalized. And from that time, it was agreed that just like we did in 1919, during the First World War, where Woodrow Wilson was the president of America, they said that we'll never again have any secretive agreements between nations. Same way in Kenya, after 2005, we said we will no longer have secretive MOUs, and said that all these MOUs must always be deposited by the Register of Political Parties. If you go to those MOUs that are deposited there, they are just government sharing. Just what my brother here is saying, that we as Kisi have not been given these positions.
Was it right from the onset to do those agreements?
Well, in terms of political arrangements, and considering that the political organization in this country is based on political parties, which are regional political parties, they are always putting down how they are going to share power and share positions in as far as those political parties are concerned. And because they are largely regional political parties, so you will see like it is regions which are actually sharing these positions.
And the point is there were instances where the agreement had clearly indicated who will be given what, including constitutional commissions.
That is it. And of course,
then is it right?
Of course, you see it is wrong.
That is wrong.
It is wrong.
That was wrong.
It's definitely wrong,
okay,
because constitutional commissions are supposed to be independent. But I can tell you, constitutional the constitutional commissions were only independent in the first commissions that were formed. After that, including the last regime and this regime, we are saying that constitutional commissioners are largely being picked from the presidency and from the executive. And for that reason, the issue of independence of these constitutional commissions is being washed away. So really,
why then do you support something that was contrary to the Constitution, which advocates for equity and equality, meritocracy, competence and qualification?
Yeah, definitely there's a challenge with that in terms of these agreements that are being deposited with the political parties registrar, and maybe there need to be some interrogation as to the legality of some of those MOUs that are being deposited there, so that we also don't deposit something that cannot be executable, so that once it's not executable, then we do not agree with it right from the word go. But really, the issue, and it is known to Kenyans, why Gachagua was being impeached is because he disagreed largely and technically with his party, with his government, and with his boss. Probably even Kagusha, if he was impeachable, he would be impeached today. Okay. Because I can no longer agree with many things that my government, which I'm a member of, is doing. Are you getting? Gachagua, for example, said we said we'll never again demolish people's houses if we do not have alternative arrangements for them. But again, here we are doing it on Christmas, we are doing it when it is raining, and we have no alternative arrangement for them. And immediately after he is kicked out, a court ruling is done. Are you getting? Again, indicting government for those impeachments. Are you getting?
Yes,
but in our impeachment, one of the things, that was one of the charges, that you spoke against government policy and stand. And so you see a situation where he's just carrying the burden of the issues that the government is completely uncomfortable with when they are spoken. And what Gachagua suffered is not anything different from what is being suffered from the young people who are also speaking on things that the government is not comfortable about. Yes. And by the way, these young people who are speaking, are not speaking from the same platform with His Excellency Gachagua. Are you getting? For him, he was a leader in a government which did not agree with the policies, with the approach, with the implementation of their manifesto. There are also other young people from the side who also don't seem to agree. Are you getting?
Yes.
And what was done to him is also now what we are seeing being done to these young people. The issues of abductions and killings. Are you getting? And so we need to be honest with ourselves as a country.
Can I be honest
so that we can be able to?
He's just taking up too much time. This is not a lecture. I'm the one who gives lectures at the university. Listen. The point of the matter is this, that when in doubt, tell the truth. Mr. Wagushia is part of the baggage of the political culture of this country. His moment from Seoul to Paul notwithstanding on national TV. I argue, Ayubo, I put it to you, is that the architect of this, the real architect of this shareholding is actually Mr. Ruto. Because he picked Mr. Gachagua. They were soulmates when they were in the campaign. There was no question about shareholding when the UDA put the people of the Rift here and here in the mountain together to win an election. That there was no shareholding then. I put it to you, yes, there was. The very idea of this political party was based on some shareholding system. There was some who had more than the others. The problem about, as you know in our language, there's a saying that says, which means the ones who sat down and started a dishonest thing, at the end they fight over what is honest. So when they went into government, and there was only one man in charge, and you know, we pastoralists, when we're the chief, we're the chief. There can't be an assistant chief. So the chief saw the assistant chief trying to be the chief, and he was thrown out. That is the crux of the matter, my dear Ayub. And the thing about it is that now that they have broken up, the president is running around the country trying to form another shareholder. He was there in Luya land, trying to put together...
He'll be there for the next 5 days.
Yeah, he's there now trying to put that together. He's trying to put the Luos and the Kisis together. He's running around for the Somalis are the ones who are at the back of the bus with no political ideology. They just jumped into the pastoralist bus without even thinking. And I think that the coming elections, as you know, I'm standing for National Assembly because I've seen the caliber of our National Assembly is totally of the low standards. So I'm going to leave the private market and join the political system because we need to help this country. If we continue down this path of mediocrity, you could see today in our panel here that patriotism of our members of parliament. But someone once said, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Ayub.
Okay, yes, Honorable Koech. In regards to some of this, and what do you think is the end game here for all that's happening in Wamunyoro for the former deputy president?
First, I think he has a fight for his life in the courts to make sure that he's able to run. I really hope that he's cleared to run. It will be very interesting to run with him.
Which hopes.
Number two is that I didn't want to discuss him because he's not really in my space. I don't care his politics, the ones that he does in the villages there. But I find he's a totally polarizing individual.
No, I think
I have seen that he's going to have unveil a party in 14 days. It's something to watch. But in my view, he's not an individual that can take up national leadership. Is terrible as a person. Is very vindictive. He's extremely tribal. No one should, and he doesn't hide it. You know, he's very toxic in his politics. And now he's just out there because, of course, he's fell out of favor. And watching him yesterday, you could see the desperation of the statements that he's making, that everything that I said I was asked by the former it's desperation.
Who is desperate?
Everything that I said the former president told me to the president told me to say. How does it how do you want to run for any office if you can't think on your own that every statement that you ever made in every public function you were being instructed to say? So we literally did not have a deputy president. And in fact, as members of parliament, then it means we did even a big honor to this country because we had someone who was masquerading as a deputy president, yet indeed, he was not a deputy president. He literally, his brain, his mind was being run from elsewhere, from notes.
Would it be fair that if the people of Kenya impeach you in August 2027 as a house, the National Assembly, for failing to represent them either as they so desire in causing up to State House and directive by the president?
Not me. My member of parliament, as a member of parliament, I know my roles. To oversight, to legislate, okay, and to represent. The people of Belgut will decide in 2027 if I've done all the three. Let me tell you, and even as a member of parliament, Ayub, I know my role. I know what I do in parliament. I know the legislation. I know the proposals that are brought. We are we are now in the process of working on foreign policy that is going to affect our, the new generation of foreign policy. We've had only 5 pillars of our foreign policy. We are trying to expand. Those are some of the things that I want to bring to before Parliament. That is for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In defense, I was here with you before, earlier when we were sending our officers to Haiti. Many people contested. I was here with our Dr. Okot, and he really protested that we cannot send our officers to Haiti. As we speak today, last week, the Congress in the U.S. praised Kenya for being in the forefront. We've brought stability in Haiti.
Praise us.
We are even going to send New Gabo as Consul General to Haiti. Those are some of the things that we do in my space as a chairman of defense.
That thing has failed.
I can enumerate many successes that I've done under my leadership.
You count that as a success? You count the Haiti mission as a success.
Because
the Congress
80 million is a huge success. Many people don't understand.
My
in fact,
goodness.
if you are a tribal, if you are so tribal, you think about your village, you can never see the politics.
I'll come to you, I'll come to just
we have a moderator. We have a moderator.
Let me tell you. If you are a villager, you never see politics on a global perspective. I look at it globally. Our success in Haiti, is not a success of the military. It's not a success of the police. It is the success of our country.
Point made. And just on a factual basis, while the Congress is happy with your undertakings, America has ended one of its longest wars in history, Afghanistan, after 20 years. I mean, why then would they be so fancied about us going to Haiti when they are only there?
They can stop it if they want to. I mean, that's their interest.
And why do you think they have failed to restore stability just some kilometers away from Haiti, and they are tasking us 12,000 kilometers?
They need to, because Mr. Barbecue is there. I can't speak for America. I'm speaking for Kenya.
Because about Congress, that's why I'm speaking about
Ayub. I'm very afraid.
You know Ayub.
Yes,
No, don't speak about Haiti.
Honorable Manduku.
Yes.
You're silent for a moment.
Yes, I was just responding to your question about former Deputy President. Fast forward, and we are here today. The truth of the matter, and this Honorable Koech may not want to listen, is that give it as it may, Rigathi Gachagua today controls between 70 and 80% of the Mount Kenya vote.
That's not true.
Many members of parliament from Mount Kenya will not make it back to the National Assembly or the Senate if they don't get an endorsement from Rigathi Gachagua. We may not like him, we may not like what he says, but the truth of the matter is that he has a sway on the Mount Kenya votes, both within Mount Kenya and the Mount Kenya diaspora, counties of Nakuru, Nairobi, and others. Now, he has been able to sell a narrative that those who impeached him from Mount Kenya were sellouts. And it has gained currency in Mount Kenya. I come from Nakuru, and I can tell you that the Kikuyu nation in Nakuru resonates very well with Rigathi Gachagua. Now, he says that in 14 days he's going to unveil a party. We think it is just the DP,
he can't run.
Democratic Party, that is going to unveil, or a party that is from the mountain. He thinks that he'll be Kingmaker. I doubt, because as it is today, he cannot run for office himself, having been impeached.
And so the matter is determined by the court.
And so, well, until it's determined, yes. But you know, this matter could take more than 5 years. The next election could find us
that then means he would run.
Before.
Yeah, if it's not determined, he would run.
You see, right now he cannot run. He has gone to court. This matter may take longer than the next cycle of the election before it's determined. And it will be difficult for him to run. But let me tell you, Ayub, one thing, that many members from Mount Kenya, many of our colleagues, who do not sing to his tune, are now becoming victims of his narrative. And it's very sad that most of our members, friends of ours, cannot go to their villages and even propagate or talk to the citizenry because they are enemies of, quote-unquote, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. My friend from Mekorene here, I think on that note is on the right side, because he can go to his village and talk, because I think you opposed the impeachment. Those of our colleagues who did impeach the Deputy President are having to suffer for it, which in real sense is actually unfair, because then in the National Assembly we're supposed to be independent.
Okay. Are you?
Well, we are not. I said we are supposed to be.
Yeah,
we are supposed to be. Yeah. We are not.
Unfortunately, we are not independent.
You are not independent.
Unfortunately, we are not
Going
independent.
forward,
I said, I'm on record. I'm on record as having said that we should all go home as the National Assembly and we go for a fresh election.
So, I took a decision myself. I took a decision.
I had to defend you from Ahmed.
Yeah, I took a decision. Yeah, I took a decision to ensure that I'm independent, and I will exercise this independence.
Finance bill.
Yeah. Indeed, I'll be very independent. I'll be very independent. Now, the issue of Haiti is an issue that is a bit problematic, because, you know, the issues that we have in Haiti are fomented from a certain super nation in the world. Are you getting? And there's a reason why that is done. And, you know, we are only bidding ourselves for a nation. What we are doing in Haiti, we are actually not doing it, you know, for ourselves. We are just bidding for a nation. And so when we are clapped for by that nation for bidding for them, we shouldn't come back here home and we are so proud, especially when exactly what is happening in Haiti, we are doing it here in Kenya. We send our police officers to Haiti, and here in Kenya, we are fomenting an insecurity scenario, whereby the government itself is encouraging and has actually propagated an illegal sect, which the leader now has a convoy of cars with sirens, new cars, with number plates that are changing every other day, and that clearly can tell you the government of the day knows what it's doing about this. And by the way,
how do you authenticate that?
What is that?
No, I'm saying this because it's a fact. It's true.
How fact is that fact?
Well, he's calling the youth of Mount Kenya Mungi.
Did you see? Come on. We are not going to buy that. We are not buying that, by the way. That is intimidation. We are not buying that. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Yes. How did you establish that?
Yeah, last weekend on Saturday.
Briefly, and we're out of time.
Yeah, last weekend on Saturday, when Maina Jenga stormed Dorcas regarding his meeting, prayer meeting,
he attended.
He came with a convoy that he has now been using, and by the way, it even passed through my constituency with young people who are very unruly. Are you getting on that convoy? And every time you see this convoy now, because a new one, it's having different number plates. Are you getting? So clearly, and it has even a chase car with sirens. And you can clearly see the kind of protection that is happening. And when this happened, the police did not interfere or intervene in any way. And this is government-sponsored. And you know what happened in the past? How do you know
it's government-sponsored?
Because of that enabling environment, including the issue that the police are not in any way protecting and preventing this from happening. Now, I want to warn our young people, in the earlier days, when young people were lured by the system that time to get into that kind of a system, then later on, they were killed. Are you getting? Because we always ask, what do you do with the dogs of war once the war is over? Our young people should not accept to join a war that they don't understand.
What do you mean by our young people?
He's calling Mount Kenya.
I'm talking of Kenyan young people, because what is going to happen immediately?
But you have placed an emphasis on our means.
Yes, our as Kenyans, because what is happening is that once you're doing this in Mount Kenya region, you're going to see the same proliferation of the same groups across the country. I am telling you. When the Mungiki scenario came that time, then we had Chinkororo, we had other many groups that came about in the country. And again, look at this. The issue of abductions, which has been abated at very high levels, as you can see, is making this country now susceptible to all criminals to form their own small abduction rings, which is leading us towards what Haiti is today.
So let's sample the feedback here on the broadcast. You're not as important as our viewers are, so let's see what you're saying. Frank Orinde says leadership demands decorum and respect. Using offensive language sets a poor example for citizens and undermines the integrity of our institutions. Farah Malim used abusive and demeaning language in the presence of the president, and they cheered him on. That was wrong. Bobo Tionowino says former President Uhuru Kenyatta calling out the Gen Z struggle to come out and fight for their rights is uncalled for and an act of incitement, and it shows he is still bitter that his preferred candidate Raila Odinga lost the presidency. Next is Remy Butia says the success of Kenya's broad-based government will depend on its ability to navigate internal challenges and genuinely address the concerns of all citizens, particularly marginalized groups like the youth. Sawe says the Kagushia of yesterday is different from Kagushia of today, from a defender of the Kenya Kwanza administration to a sober leader who calls out the wrongs in his own government. If it's genuine, continue, else it's just another script. Well, we can say he had his solemn moment during the Gen Z moment. K.D. Lethal says, would Kagusha resign if the people he represents ask him to, or are you just trying to sound good on air? Next up, Gode Barasawere. Kenya as a country is living the Monk series, a theme song called It's a Jungle Out There. This is demonstrated via the abductions, arbitrary killings, administrative challenges, and so much more. This is getting hazy as days go by. Sir Nixon Dugure says the sad and unfortunate thing is that all these leaders we are dying for will shake hands after 2027, where traditionally now the opposition will get the bigger share and attention in that government. I chose my mind to mind my own business. Well, thanks for your time. Ahmed Hashi is a governance commentator. Your time is all appreciated. Honorable Nelson Koech is the lawmaker representing Belgut constituency, the chair of the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee, as well as Daniel Manduku, Nyaribari Masaba lawmaker, and John Kagushia, who had joined us and represents the people of Mokorweine here on the broadcast. Up next is Sporty Monday. There is a team called Liverpool in Liverpool, and they are walking alone. That is their tagline, probably to glory days for their 20th title, to match some team from the city of Manchester who saw red, the Devils, and the story of Zita Jimoi and the no longer sing of song of Glory, Glory, My United. The Guns had malfunctioned at the Emirates. The Gunners fell 2-2 draw to Aston Villa, and appears that the title hopes could be over. That's up next year on the broadcast, and they will be on and up. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Good morning.
Thank you.